This compilation of videos would have you doubting the truths you have held dear for a very long time. Hey, some might be a bit unsettling. Would you say incarnation is a truckload of impossibilities? In this clip, we see that maybe reincarnation might not be a lie after all, but if it was just coincidence, the coincidence stops after a while.
Do you believe in reincarnation? If not, this story might change your mind. In May of 1957, sisters Joanna and Jacqueline were on their way to church with their friend Anthony when a woman under the influence intentionally hit the three children with her car. Heartbreakingly, Joanna and Jacqueline passed instantly, while their friend Anthony passed during transport. When their mother Florence got pregnant a few years later, their father John was convinced that the girls would be reborn as twins. Florence refused to accept John's beliefs. There was no history of twins in either of their families, and their doctor even predicted that it was only going to be one baby. Against all odds, on October 4th, 1958, Florence delivered twin girls Jillian and Jennifer. The twins were identical, except they had different birthmarks. Jennifer had a birthmark on her hip, just like Jacqueline did. She also had a birthmark on her forehead, in the same spot Jacqueline had a scar. When the girls were 3 months old, their family moved from Hexham to Whitley Bay. As the girls got older, they remembered Hexham in detail, despite not living there long at all. The girls could point out and name landmarks they had never seen, such as their sister's old school and the playgrounds that their sisters loved. The girls started asking for old toys back, toys that were their sisters', and they had never even seen them before. They even called the toys by names that their older sisters gave them. Jillian acted more mature and watched after Jennifer, even though she was only 10 minutes older, much like Joanna used to watch over Jacqueline. Florence continued to reject the idea that this was Joanna and Jacqueline reincarnated, until they started talking about the car accident. One day, Florence heard the girls recreating their sister's accident. Jillian held Jennifer's head and told her, "The blood is coming out of your eyes. That's where the car hit you." But shortly after turning 5, the memories began to fade away and the girls went on to live normal lives.
You would expect the government to act as soon as they can when they sense a threat imminent to the country, right? Well, what if this threat is just a bluff work of a hacker who pretends to threaten a country? Check this clip for more information.
Right now, a single hacker sitting in a basement somewhere could cause a full-out nuclear war leading to destruction and loss of life on an unprecedented scale. A hack of a nuclear weapons system could trigger a false alarm, making us think that an enemy's nuclear weapons are on their way. And under current US protocols, the president would have just minutes to decide whether or not to launch a retaliatory strike and start a full-blown nuclear war. The US government has found that these systems are vulnerable to cyber attacks, and the US is not prepared to defend against them. And this is not just a theoretical threat. In 2020, Russian military intelligence hacked into a US IT company and hid malware in a software update that was distributed to government agencies like the Department of Homeland Security. The only way for humanity to ensure a future is to work towards the eventual elimination of nuclear weapons entirely. By raising awareness about the dangers of #HackedNukes, we can help to build public pressure on elected officials to take action and protect us all from this grave threat.
In this clip, we see a murderer dubbed as the mindless murderer because his actions were just that, mindless. Turns out he would confess to 4 other murders of kids under the age of 10.
To anyone who may be triggered by these topics, or anyone who is faint of heart, please keep scrolling. Serial killers from every US state. Part 26. Montana. David Meerhofer. In 1973, a 7-year-old girl was abducted and strangled to death. Her killer cut up her body. That murderer turned out to be David Meerhofer, who confessed to 4 other murders during a 4-hour interrogation. They called him a, quote, mindless monster, according to the Argus Press. Meerhofer was one of the first serial killers to be identified using the FBI's newly developed profiling system that helped catch countless other serial killers. He hung himself in jail just hours after confessing.
Have you ever thought about how you might die? Studies show that thinking about how you might die is quite normal, but there is nothing normal about the way these people die.
Worst ways people have died. Part 9. In 1995, a group of Polish men were drinking when it was suggested they strip naked and play some, quote, men's games. Initially, they hit each other over the head with frozen turnips, but then one man upped the ante by amputating the end of his foot using a chainsaw. Not to be outdone, Krzysztof Asninski grabbed the saw and shouted, "Watch this then," as he swung the chainsaw towards his neck and cut his own head off. In 1993, Gary Hoy was an attorney who really took pride in the strength of the windows in his skyscraper office. One day he decided to impress some incoming students by throwing himself against the glass of the 24th floor office windows. The first time the window held as it always had before, but on the second try the window popped out of the frame and Hoy plunged to the pavement below where he died from his injuries.
This is the tale of the Nebraska criminal who would shock the world in the space of 2 months. No one would have believed that the 19-year-old spree killer would kill 11 people in 2 months.
To anyone who may be triggered by these topics, or anyone who is faint of heart, please keep scrolling. Serial Killers from Every U.S. State, Part 27. Nebraska. Charles Starkweather. Technically, Charles Starkweather is a spree killer, but that does not make him any less terrifying. In 1958, for 2 short months, Starkweather shocked the nation with his crimes. At just 19 years old, he killed 11 people. He scared everyone because he was killing people with reckless abandon at random. There was zero pattern or clear idea as to who would be next. He told authorities he started his killing spree because his parents did not approve of his girlfriend. Starkweather was found guilty of murder and was sentenced to death. He was executed in 1959.
On today's episode of Videos That Humans Were Never Meant to See, we see a clip of a severed dog head that acts and operates as though the dog was still alive. It even reacts to light after hours of being severed.
These are videos humans were never meant to see, Part 8.
Okay, so this video shows Russian scientists keeping a dog's severed head alive for several hours. This video is extremely disturbing and crazy at the same time.
To external stimuli. The isolated head even reacts to light and the sound.
This clip begins like the usual boring morning from a home security feed, until it is not. Everything goes south when a strange woman comes smashing through the glass and windows of this house. Why? We might never know.
Creepiest home camera of footage PT.22.
My mother-in-law, first instinct was to grab the baby. 2 seconds later, all you see is huge shards of glass in the bassinet where she would be.
The story of the Bloody Bucket Bridge would stick with you for a very long time because it is one of the creepiest stories out there. Never heard of it? Check this clip out.
This is the story of Bloody Bucket Bridge. This is one of my favorite urban legends from my state of Florida. The story goes, an ex-slave woman from Georgia and her husband moved down to the town of Wauchula in Florida. She served as a midwife for the community. However, this woman was worried about the food shortage because people were having so many kids. So she decided to start unaliving them. She would take them down to Bloody Bucket Bridge and bury them right next to the woods. The community started to get very suspicious of her. Many believed because she couldn't have kids of her own, she was taking it out on the community in this sick way. Many people began refusing her to deliver the babies. The woman started to go crazy from this. And apparently the souls of the babies came back to haunt her. Every time she was near a bucket, it would fill to the brim with blood. She would carry it down to Bloody Bucket Bridge and dump it into the river. One day when she was carrying a bucket down, she tripped and fell into the water and ended her life. For many days, the water ran red with blood. Apparently during a full moon, you can still see the red running into the river. Many blame this on tannic acid caused by trees around the area. On Halloween in 2003, a few people went to this area. They wrote a blog on how they heard crying and screaming of infants. A couple of the friends that were there that day blame it on birds. Let me know what you guys think about Bloody Bucket Bridge in the comment section below, or if you've been to Bloody Bucket Bridge before.
What is causing the lights in the Brown Mountains of North Carolina? Some think it is the work of spirits roaming the area. Others think it is from UFOs. Which idea is less scary?
What are causing these strange lights, UFOs or spirits? The Brown Mountain lights are a phenomenon that has been observed in the Brown Mountains of North Carolina for over 100 years. The lights are described as strange, ghostly orbs that appear in the night sky. They range in color from blue to yellow to white, and they move and dance in the sky. The cause of the lights is still unknown. Many theories have been proposed to explain the Brown Mountain lights. Some people believe that the lights are caused by natural phenomena, such as swamp gas, while others believe that they are the ghost lights of the Cherokee Indians who lived in the area. There are also theories that the lights are caused by UFOs or even time travelers. Many people have reported experiencing a feeling of unease or even fear when they see the lights, leading to speculation that the lights may be connected to some sort of paranormal activity. Despite over a century of research, the cause of the Brown Mountain lights remains a mystery. So,
which of the stories from this clip do you consider too extreme? Which of them would you consider not very scary? We're checking for your opinions in the comments.